The support and the generosity of the Women for STEM program has made my goal of graduating debt-free that much easier to attain, as all the fog of financial worries has cleared up. They have boosted my confidence and made me want to be a leader in my field and want to make valuable contributions, not just to the tech community, but towards helping fellow girls feel more open and encouraged to enter this workspace and carve their own futures. As cheesy as it sounds, it has made me want to do bigger things.
Yeah, over to you, Stephen. Thanks.
Great. Thanks very much, Sue. So I'm pleased to be able to introduce our closing keynote speaker today, who is Rhonda Barnet. Rhonda is the president and COO of AVIT Manufacturing, formerly Steelworks Design and Engineering and Custom Automation firm in Peterborough, Ontario. An ardent supporter of Canadian manufacturing and exporting, Rhonda was appointed the first female chair in the history of the Canadian manufacturers and exporters. Rhonda currently serves CME as the immediate past chair and the chair of the Workforce of the Future. She maintains an active schedule of government and industry engagements, including functions in Germany, Holland, Italy, China, Mexico, the United States, and Canada. And I'm sure those things have gone virtual, but be curious to hear how Rhonda is managing that environment. Further national appointments include being on one of 9 members of the Canadian Economic Strategy Council, set to lead a comprehensive strategy for Canada's recovery from the 2020 economic crisis. She's chair of the Federal Advanced Manufacturing Strategy Table, and she's the director of Next Generation Manufacturing Canada, NGen Canada, one of 5 Canadian superclusters to deliver $950 million of federal innovation funds. Recently, Rhonda was also appointed a director and the chair of Equity, Diversity, Inclusion of Palette Inc., a federally funded pilot program around reskilling and upskilling disrupted workers for the technology jobs of the future. Quick to recognize the potential of a strong entrepreneurial community focused on skills and education, Rhonda volunteers and champions numerous initiatives to this end. In 2016, Rhonda launched CME's Women in Manufacturing Working Group, convened to elevate the participation and roles of women in Canadian manufacturing. And in 2018, Rhonda launched CME's We Can Do It campaign, an initiative funded in part by the federal government to add 100,000 women to the manufacturing workforce over the next 5 years. Rhonda is an international spokeswoman on diversity, women in manufacturing, skills, and the future workforce. She believes in the value of mentorship, and upholds the philosophy, if you can see me, you can be me. I would like now to invite Rhonda to deliver her keynote. Rhonda, over to you.
Thank you, Stephen, for the warm introductions. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. And can everybody see me? My motto in life is, if you can see me, you can be me. So thanks for the thumbs up there, Susan. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak today. Normally I'd be getting nervous, you know, who's out there, who am I speaking to, what are they thinking? But today I'm worried about the technology platform. Zoom's not my typical platform either. As with Kevin, I work on Microsoft Teams all the time with my company and with the government, but here I am stretching myself. So the one thing that wasn't mentioned in my opening is I'm a STEM graduate. So I hold a Bachelor of Science of Mathematics and Computer Science from Trent University, and I graduated in 1990. So I'm here today to really speak, I hope, because I can't see who's out there, but I hope to the women studying STEM. I'm here to speak to everybody. Obviously, we all play a role in elevating these women to reach their full potential. But today, I think for the first time, actually, I'm going to share my story in hopes that I can inspire other women to reach their full potential, and that I can inspire other leaders to understand the roles they can better play to elevate women to reach their full potential. So when I was putting together this keynote, I was talking to my assistant about my story, and we were trying to frame it. And she said, You know, that sounds like a STEM Cinderella story. So that's where we jumped off here. So today we're going to throw away the glass slippers, and it's time to break the glass ceiling. So I don't actually own glass slippers, but I had these crazy shoes. You can see them? We're gonna throw them away. So now let me see if I can get the technology working here. And advance. So Cinderella. So I'm not here, obviously, to perpetuate and reinforce gender stereotypes. So the Cinderella story kind of does that, but there are some interesting parallels to the story, and it's how I framed my own story. I'm not going to talk very much about Cinderella's story other than just right now, but you know, she had to dare to be seen. She had to do a lot of the things that I did to realize her full potential as she saw it. But today, thanks to feminism, a better life can now be packaged with a successful career in education, and you can lead a very full and rewarding life. And I'm here to tell you my story and hopefully to give you tools that you can then fully realize your own potential. So, where did it begin? So I guess you can't see very well because there's icons along the side here, but this is a picture of me. And crazy enough, from the opening here, this is me at Darlington Nuclear Generating Station in 1992. So I graduated in 1990 and I took a position with an engineering firm in Peterborough. And I took a position in the accounting firm. I didn't really know how to leverage a math degree. And I'm going to tell you what happened from that point, how I had really important people in my life that saw something in me and gave me those opportunities. And I call that sponsorship. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of my story. And what I want you to see is, you know, I've done some really great things. I see that, I understand that. But when I was born, I wasn't born to privilege. I wasn't born to education. I was born to a working class family. And I was the first person in my entire family to go off to university. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know how to maneuver it. I didn't know what to study, but I happened to be really good at mathematics. And I had a mentor in my community who was a teacher and had studied math. And so I thought, I can do that. I can probably go be a math teacher. So that's where it started. But obviously, that's not where it ended. So throughout this presentation, I want to talk about these kind of 6 key pillars, which I think can help any woman, any person, realize their full potential. And they've been really valuable. So I want to just share what is actually my story, just a few key points in my story that will really help you understand how these things work and how they worked for me and how they could work for you, I hope. So as I mentioned, I was born in a blue collar family, working collar family, didn't know anything about education. So I had a mentor. A mentor got me aligned to university. I was working 3 jobs to make my way through university. And in one of those jobs, I learned accounting. I'd never touched accounting, even though I was good at mathematics. I never knew anything about engineering either. And yet I own an engineering firm today. So my eyes were open to all of the possibilities. Got my way through that degree, graduated in 1990 with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Computer Science. Now what do? I found out along the path, I was in a co-op education program. I didn't actually like teaching, but I really liked the work I was doing in accounting. I liked business. So I scanned the papers and I found a job in Peterborough at Spectrum Engineering. And I won that job. I applied and I won that job. So I went in and did a 1-year maternity leave, and then sponsorship happened. People in the organization saw me, they saw my education, they saw that I was working below my credentials, I could do more for the company. And a particular person, Jack Richmond, a man, gave me an opportunity. He gave me the opportunity to be presented as a mathematical analyst to Darlington. So I went to OPG head office on University Ave, downtown Toronto at the time, and and I got a contract job, and I had many contract jobs with Ontario Hydro and in the nuclear safety group. So that picture that you saw, I happened to be working in the nuclear plant. I was on a team called the N12 team, and those that know the nuclear industry will know that. And I was working on a very small team that solved end plate cracking at the Darlington nuclear plant. It was very exciting. My immediate supervisor was the person that solved the problem, and I did some of the analysis for him. So to this day, that happened in 1992, to this day, that makes me proud. That makes me very proud. It's part of my foundation. So sponsorship is really important. And believing in your value. It is so important. Women often think that they don't deserve that next step. They suffer from things like imposter syndrome. And it's really important to believe in your value as a woman. So you might think, I just had this trajectory. I was in a career in science and math, and I've had this, amazing career, but there were bumps along the way. And I've led a full life. I was married, I had 2 daughters, I took reduced workload to raise my kids. And in that time, I committed more time to philanthropy. And even in that place, I found the stepping stones to my success. So I took on a community board position in the Peterborough Singers. And again, they saw something in me, and they really wanted to promote me. So I became treasurer, I became the board chair. And the other thing that you don't know about me is I was so petrified to speak in public. Now I do it all the time. I do it around the world, but I was deathly petrified to speak in public. So I had to dare to be seen. And somebody took me aside, a man named Cinderella, and he showed me how I could dare to be seen. He showed me how to do it. He helped me. He mentored me in that. And it was so pivotal in the success that I've experienced to take that step to grow. So we have to dare to be seen. I went on in my path and in my success, and I had to persevere through adversity. I went through a divorce. I was a single mom. Then I became an entrepreneur. These were all very difficult things. But in 2004, I joined my now new husband to build a brand new company. It was started out as Steelworks Design. It's now AVIT Manufacturing. And through that journey, we experienced a lot of adversity. It was a brand new company starting from the ground. And we had some issues. I had a very big issue with the SR&ED credits in the company. And I belonged to an organization called the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters. And I was telling them I'm having this issue. And I was so passionate about it. I was daring to be seen. And so they took me to Ottawa, and I sat in a room. First of all, you should know they invited me to Ottawa, and I didn't even own a suit. I had to go out and buy one. So I was nervous. I was shaking. I show up in Ottawa. I'm with the chief of staff to the Minister of Finance. And I tell my story, and I tell it passionately. And they believe in me, and they try to help me. And I got invited back again and again. And I tell my story, and I helped influence policy and policy changes. I fixed my own problem, and I started to help other problems be solved. CME took note of that. They saw in me that leadership, that passion. And at that time, CME, I think, was about 146 years old, had never had a female leader in its history. It was the largest trade association in the country. And they said, you know what, I think you've got what it takes to be the first female leader of this organization. I want to expose you to the full organization, to the national board. I tell you, I felt like an imposter joining that board, a small company owner, going to the national board with all the biggest companies to sit around the board table and talk about these very big, important issues in policy and around the sector. I learned so much. I had so many other sponsors and mentors around the table that really fostered in me the leadership that was required for me to then become the chair of the board. So in 2016, let me get the numbers right. Yeah, 2016 to 2018, I was the first female in history to lead the National Board of Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters. And it fundamentally changed my life. I had to believe in my value. I had to dare to be seen. I had to persevere. I had to do all those things. And I knew that women in manufacturing was an issue. If it had taken 147 years for me to be the first female chair, I needed to do something. I needed to start an initiative to make sure we were fostering more women inside of manufacturing so that more women could be on the board. So I started CME's National Women in Manufacturing Initiative, and as Stephen announced, we set a path to add 100,000 net new women to the sector, and I've been working very hard towards those goals, and had the opportunity to be the trailblazer. So for me, I have thrown away my glass slippers. I've broken a glass ceiling. You know, it's not over. Last year, I had the unique opportunity to go to the World Manufacturing Forum and sit on the stage and talk about how do we access more talent for our sector. And I was on the stage with 5 men, and I was the only person talking about women. And now, this year, the whole World Manufacturing Forum is talking about women being untapped talent. So that was a real highlight in my career. But you know, the journey's not over, as I said, and I came home and I was faced with yet more adversity. A year ago, almost to the day, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so that was the next challenge that I had to overcome. And I have. I've gone through everything, and I am now cancer-free. And I continue now to lead the work around women in manufacturing, women in the economy, and the great work I'm getting to do right now with the federal government. So that's just a little bit of my story and some of the key ingredients that I think are so important. So breaking glass ceilings. You know, that's what we're here to talk about today. And everybody's path is different. You're not going to break the same glass ceiling as I did. You're not going to take the same path. But I want you to realize that there's still a lot of glass ceilings to be broken. I want you all to realize your full potential. I want the women in STEM to realize their full potential. I want the educators and the employers that are around the table, the policymakers, to know their role, to know how they can help women reach their full potential. So just a few more slides here. I'm not going to go into this too much because Kevin really covered it. I hope everybody had the chance to hear Kevin, and I knew he would give the business case of women in STEM and the obstacles. I'll just touch on them briefly, and then I want to talk specifically again about what I think that you can do to realize your full potential, knowing all of this, knowing what I've done. So on opportunities, you know, there's great power in diversity. There's a business case. We've all heard it. I don't need to tell you again. Businesses are much more effective and profitable when they're diverse. So that's a great thing going for women. They are the jobs in the future. It's expressed that maybe as many as 50% of the jobs of the future will involve some type of STEM, because technology is playing such an important role in all of the jobs. So guess what? You're there, you're a woman in STEM. You've got a secure future when it comes to jobs. More flexible work arrangements, that's really important for women. And this pandemic has showed us that it's possible. Many women, especially when you can leverage technology and electronics to do your jobs, you can work remotely and you can have more flexibility. So that's a great thing. That's a new opportunity that's come out because of the pandemic. There's, I do a lot of research with McKinsey. There's a report on the broken rung. And, you know, we know that women are missing in the C-suite. What are we going to do about it? But there's a broken rung when we're climbing that ladder. Women are not being advanced at the same rate as men. I think for every 100 men, 72 women are advanced. So if we're not advancing women through the lower ranks of management up to the upper ranks of management, then there's simply not going to be enough women available in the C-suite. So we've got to fix that. We've got to fix the broken rung. And there's a big shining light on that problem right now. So that's a real opportunity for women. And you kind of think sometimes that we've invented everything, we've figured everything out. You know, what can I do in STEM? Well, guess what? I think we know now that there's so much. You know, I'm working right now on a strategy for the country and how we pivot. And there's so many things that need to be invented. We need to have more electrification of our vehicles and of our planes, and so many things. We need to focus on the environment, on health. There's so much to be done, and women can help make the world a better place. That's really exciting. What are the obstacles? I won't go into these too much, but of course there's glass ceilings. A touch just a little bit on the demands of unpaid work, and because I don't want to throw out a lot of statistics, but this one's really interesting. I looked at this. Globally, women spend more than 1 trillion hours a year of unpaid care, while men do less than 400 billion. So that is staggering. I think we all know it, but that's a staggering mountain that we have to climb. But the one good thing is careers in STEM do offer some flexibility. And we've proven that through this pandemic. So I think, you know, our country is already working on this problem, and many countries are. So I think we will see advancement in your career lifetime. So that's a big one. A lack of visible role models. We've talked a lot about that today. That's why I'm here. I want to do my part, and I want each of you to do your part. We need to stand up and be role models. I didn't have one, really. I didn't see myself. I had to find it out. I had lots of sponsors and mentors, but we need role models. Women need to be able to see themselves, see how they can be successful in different careers, even though it's one that they haven't experienced or their family hasn't experienced. They need to see us. Unconscious bias, it's everywhere, and it's being further embedded in technology. So we need to show up and be there so we can help break these biases. And business culture is a big place that I work. So a lot of manufacturing is a male-dominated industry. A lot of technology sectors are. So there's cultures there that need to be fixed. A lot of work has been done, and a lot more work needs to be done. So I lead the Women in Manufacturing initiative. We have a toolkit that's free for anybody. At womeninmanufacturing.ca, you'll find the diversity toolkit, and it has all kinds of free tools that you can help you implement good diversity tools within your organization to deal with your business culture, to deal with unconscious bias, deal with all these things. So those tools are there. And the lack of self-confidence. I had it. I obviously had it. But what we find is that almost all women in STEM have it. I don't know the answer to that problem, but it's a problem. It's one we need to tap into. It's one we need to fix, because you know what? Women are rocking it in STEM careers, and we just need to remind them of that. So really, why am I here today? I want to help you reach your full potential. So here's what I did. I want to help you on this path. You know, there'll be opportunities and challenges, and then use these tangible things to overcome those things and reach your full potential. It's so important. I think the biggest ingredient for me was finding sponsors, and they were almost always men for me, and that's okay. They don't need to be women. Whoever is around you that can help you reach the next step. And I think Kevin talked about an advocacy bench. I think that's what he called it. It's the same thing. We need to sponsor women in organizations to be seen for the next promotion, to be seen for the next job. It's so important. So find yourself a sponsor, or if you're an employer or an educator, be a sponsor, be an advocate. Believe in your value. It's just so important. 82% of women in STEM have said that they think their achievements have been overlooked in the workplace. So we have to stand up and be seen, and we have to stand up and take credit for things that we do, because often we don't. So it's a really important thing. And that ties in. So dare to be heard, dare to be seen, I guess, is what we can talk about. Daring to be seen, you need to take the opportunities that are presented to you. You need to put yourself out there. You need to stretch yourself. You know, I was petrified to speak in public. And now, just last year, I spoke at the World Manufacturing Forum. I was still nervous, but I did it, and I was successful. And I delivered a passionate speech that I was proud of. So we have to stretch ourselves. We have to dare to be seen. And we have to persevere. We're always going to face challenges. There will always be adversity, and we can't be afraid to meet our challenges head on and use those experiences to make us stronger. I can certainly say that every challenge has made me stronger. And as a wise man once said, it isn't the critic who counts, it is the person who is actually in the arena. So just showing up is half the battle. We have to do that. And then on trailblazing, I guess nobody really starts on the journey to be a trailblazer. But I think when you do all of these things in your career and you lead with passion, then you have a power to make a difference. You have a power to be a leader in your work, in society, and in the economy, all around you. It doesn't have to be what I did. It could be in your community. It could be in a daycare. It could be in the environment, in the economy, in your field. But there's so much room for women to be trailblazers. And I think we make really great trailblazers because we are such passionate, dynamic creatures. So I encourage you to follow the path, to find that thing that feeds you, to drive your passion so you can be a trailblazer in your own way. And then I would just encourage you to throw out the notion of the glass slippers. Still have another one. Throw them out. Work boots are just fine. We have to continue to break down the glass ceiling so that it gets easier for everyone else behind us. You know, you can take charge of your own narrative, surround yourself in great people. You got to trust people to mentor you and sponsor you on the journey. You have to persevere. You have to stand up and be seen, and you absolutely have to believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, other people won't. You have to do these things, and you can help create a better future for yourself and for all women that come after you. I really fundamentally believe that. I think we're going to shake the world up in Canada, women in STEM. So, as I said in the opening, this is my motto in the work that I do. If you can see me, you can be me. So I hope you see me here today, and I hope that I've inspired you in some way to act or think differently so you can reach your full potential. I fight for a lot of causes. Women in STEM is one of them, women in manufacturing. And I have a slogan on my campaign to add 100,000 women in the sector is #WeCanDoIt. It's the modern day Rosie the Riveter. So that's all I have to say today, and I look forward to answering any of your questions.
Very good, Rhonda. Thank you very much. So I can see you, so you made your point. It was very interesting and engaging. I too actually graduated as a woman in STEM a little bit before you, so we won't talk about ages, but it was a great career, and it does, or a great academic career, and it does help you move through others. I do have a few questions for you, and that takes me to one of the very first ones, which was, as a woman with an established career and background in non-STEM fields, so we have a whole mess who are non-STEM, how can they say I, not me, them, how can I help influence future generations of women of the firsthand challenges and benefits towards moving to a STEM career? So how can we non-women in STEM help those women and push them towards STEM?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, I think the importance is, you know, I have a blended family of 5 kids, and 2 of them actually took pure STEM academic trajectories, and 3 of them took other trajectories. But you know what? Mathematics was underpinning of all 5 of their goals, all 5 of their academic careers. So, you know, I think the important thing that I've said and that you can say is that STEM has been the underpinning of almost everything, and it's becoming even more so. So I think anybody can stand up and say that. We've all been through this big technological evolution as we strive to work remotely, etc. So we can talk about this, you know, the role that STEM is playing in the future of work, and how important it is to at least be thinking about that, to not close your mind to that, because I do a lot of work with young people and trying to inspire them into STEM, and we know that they turn this off sometimes around grade 3, but between grade 3 and grade 8 we have to do a lot of work, and I spend a lot of time there to really keep eyes open and keep minds open to the possibilities. So it's going to take all of us to talk about that.
At the university throughout the summer, we have, well, not during COVID, but we have students for summer camps, and they're very young kids in STEM fields, and they have a great time. And I do think that is ingrained in their head at, you know, 5 and 6 and 10 and 11 when they're working on robotics and the different STEM fields, and they love it. And their parents go, wow, I never knew they had that in them. So they need to be showing that, and so that's good. Another question, you obviously do not have a lack of confidence. You talk a lot about having a lack of confidence. One of the questions is, how did you overcome that lack of confidence?
Well, I really did have a lack of confidence. I was petrified. So I think you have to learn it. You know, if you're not born with it, if you're not born where you're taught that in your home, you do have to learn it, and it's can be a learned skill. So you just have to expose yourself. And I had a mentor recently, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, who talked about growth being something that you do slowly, that you have to kind of go like this. If you just kind of go like this, you're going to panic and you're going to freeze and it's going to be awful. So I think that the same is, if you don't have confidence, you have to cultivate it, and you have to keep stretching yourself little by little, and then all of a sudden it's going to be this big.
That's good. That's good advice. I have a question here from Lynn Zucker, who's one of our Board of Governors. She said, Rhonda, your story was very inspiring. What does she encourage women to study if they want to enter the manufacturing sector? Engineering, math, science, business, question mark, and what will make manufacturing more appealing to women? That's a good question, Lynn.
Oh, I could spend all day on that question. So yes, all of it, study it all. So I spend a lot of time talking about STEM with a double T. So I don't want to lose sight. We're talking at a university here that's not as involved in the trades, but just your sister organization at Durham College is very involved in the trades. So trades are very important too. They're very scientific. They're very underpinned by math. So the full gamut is available in manufacturing. As I'm writing my report for the country right now, I've realized that for 300 years, the sector has advanced on skills. It's about innovation. It's inventing things. It's inventing products and processes, and there's business all around it. And it has everything. It's such a dynamic industry that we need everyone. And as far as women in manufacturing goes, again, I'll ask people to look at the website, womeninmanufacturing.ca. We're doing a lot of work. We had actually moved the dial in 18 months. We've added 40,000 net new women to the sector prior to the recession. And our low water mark had been, I think, 30 years ago. So we've gone below the low water mark of 30 years in the what we've lost from women in the sector. So we have to double down and re-engage women in the sector, because we know that the sector is more vibrant and interesting when women are there. So I'm going to be working really hard to engage women in the sector. The sector isn't dark and dangerous and dirty anymore. It's vibrant, it's technological, it's interesting, it's innovative. If you want to make things and have this dynamic kind of work environment, then manufacturing is for you, and I want you to come out and experience it.
That's great. Great answer. I have one here from an Ontario Tech alumni, so we're glad to see our alumni are participating. This individual was an alumni in network and IT security. That's a huge thing right now. And working in the field, she is working in the field now. Does IT certification matter to business leaders? She'd like to move up, but it seems that she has to certify herself in everything. So you're at the top of your organization. That would have been a question that I would have asked when I was young and would have frustrated me as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, certification is a big thing that we battle, and, especially cross-certification with immigrant talent, et cetera. I think we have to do better in the country. I don't know specifically enough about IT, so I'll just start right there. But I think we have to do more in Canada to cross-credential. And Stephen and I have had this discussion around micro-credentials, cross-credentials. We have to understand if people have the skill and they can do the job and they can kind of pivot to, a different platform or a different industry or something, but they have these basic skills, and we have to start looking at people as with the basic skills they present rather than some really specific credential, because I think industry can work on credentializing, and industry is going to have to step up in that area.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. I think we'll do one more, and then we've said we'd let everybody out at 4, so we don't want to keep them longer. Do you find that companies have good sponsorship/mentor programs? And I guess you could talk about the manufacturing center, as you've been the chief at the top of the association. Or do you have any suggestions on how to develop that culture and offerings in companies?
Yeah, I think it happens somewhat naturally, but it doesn't always happen well in terms of sponsorship. So I liked what Kevin was saying earlier today, that they had like a bench that took care of this. I think is the advancement bench. So I think companies need to think about formalizing that if we're really going to make a difference. And I'm getting my own company to do that. And I certainly go around to manufacturers and talk about this because, for me, I'm so lucky that it was, it just happened. It wasn't formalized. It just happened. It happened to be, me. Maybe I just expressed myself in a way that people understood it. I didn't have to fight for it. But I think companies across all sectors could do more to really, to make sure they've got this piece right. Because, if we really want a diverse talent pool, and gender's just one piece of that, then we have to have you know, a really clear way of, once we attract the talent, to make sure they're advancing through the same way. And what I always say in my own organization to my managers that are hiring is, we often hire ourselves. So if we don't stop and think about, you know, here's the next advancement, we need a diverse set of individuals that we're going to look at for that advancement. Even if you haven't sponsored somebody into there, we have to look at these things differently. We have to break down these biases so that we don't just continually hire ourselves. And in male dominated industries, that's just going to be more men.
That's a great message, I think, for some of our students. We have a lot of first generation students who have gone to university, the first one in their family, and they have come from countries where it's not as advanced. Women in STEM, helping women. So I think that's a great message for those students right now who are listening, that you're in Canada and we're really all pushing that way, and it's a great way to go. Anyway, we would like to thank you, Rhonda. You did a fantastic job. I think you always had confidence. I really do. I think you always did. But thank you very much. And we appreciate you taking the time. We certainly appreciate the support that you've given our university and our young women in STEM. So we look forward to continuing our partnership with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. And now I would like to turn it over to Lisa McBride. I see her picture down there, so she can turn her camera on. Again, she is the chair of our Women in STEM Council. She will deliver our final remarks, and then I think we have one more video and Stephen closes, so about 10 more minutes and we're all done. And Lisa, again, thank you for all your work on this program.
Oh, thank you, Sue. What a great afternoon. Lots of great presentations, speakers. The messages were amazing. I do want to thank our keynote speakers, Kevin Piesker. You know, I really enjoyed your message. I couldn't agree more. The time to act is now. I really, you know, hopefully everybody got some great takeaways out of that, especially in terms of the critical role that we all play. I want to thank Rhonda Barnet for her discussion on how to break the glass ceiling, and I personally liked the throwing of the boots. And I really liked your story, Rhonda, about your ability to persevere, your many firsts as a woman in manufacturing, and then, of course, the role of sponsorship and mentorship. And, you know, I always say, it's important to celebrate the firsts that women have in any industry, but won't it be great when we get to the point where we don't need to celebrate that anymore, because it's just normal. I'll definitely be looking also at your website, womeninmanufacturing.ca, to see how I can support. It sounds like a great organization and lots of opportunity and synergies for my own organization, Women in Nuclear. To our panelists, I really want to say thank you, Joanne, Rashi, Danina, Stephen, and our moderator, Fawn, for exploring the important role that women play in leadership and innovation, and how we've contributed to the success of our organizations during these difficult times. So many insights from this group. I do want to give a warm thanks to our presenting sponsor, the Woodbridge Group. We are so grateful for the support to this university and the dedication to the Women for STEM program, including your sponsorship of the summit. Of course, our gold sponsors and our silver sponsors as well. Our gold sponsors, Agilent and the Society of United Professionals, thank you so much. And of course, our silver sponsors, also very important, 360 Degree Insights, Association of Consulting Engineering Companies Ontario, Bruce Power, Microsoft, Nuclear Waste Management Organization, and Scotiabank. We're really pleased that all of the proceeds from today's summit will go directly to support the Women for STEM Scholarship Fund. So a big thank you to all of our sponsors. We couldn't do this without you. I do want to thank also the Women for STEM Council for their ongoing dedication to this program, and to our students, the next generation of female leaders. It takes a whole army of volunteers to make things like this happen, and we're certainly blessed to have such a great group of women. I also do need to mention the sincere and express efforts of the subcommittee who worked on today's summit, Judy Marshall and Reka Rao-Maya, with our team, of course, at the university, Allison Broadworth, Yvonne Stefanen, Susan Maitland, and Julie Olden. They do an immense amount of work to support the efforts of this council, and certainly we couldn't do it without them. And thanks again, Sue, for being our moderator today. You did a great job. So for everybody, all of our participants, I'd like to encourage you to reach out to us if you would like to become involved in the program by supporting a scholarship or the program itself in any way. Our goal for next year is $180,000 to support 60 women in STEM scholarship. So that those are the scholarship recipients we're looking to support. And although we're on our way, we would love to have you join us. Of course, we definitely need more scholarship funding. So if you have opportunity to support this program, I would encourage you to reach out to us directly. This program is, I can't say how important it is to supporting young women in the pursuit of their career in STEM. It goes a long way, and we've been blessed today to hear from some of our scholarship recipients. And now I'm going to give you the opportunity to hear the impact that this program has had in just 1 year from one of our first-year students. So if you'll just stay tuned, we have a message from her.
Hello, my name is Isabella Smith and I am in the Technology Management program here at Ontario Tech University. I'm about to enter my second year of my program and I have enjoyed every minute of it so far. All the professors and TAs were so supportive and helpful, making my first year at university so positive. And before starting at Ontario Tech, I was very nervous about coming to a technology program because I was unsure what my courses would be like and I didn't know how it would be to make new friends. I now know that everyone at Ontario Tech is here to make my experience a positive one. Events such as the Women for STEM Summit have given us an opportunity to meet with other women in our field and in similar fields. We value the mentorship and expertise we have received as being part of the Women for STEM program. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Women for STEM Council and mentors for creating opportunities for women students to fulfill their potential in innovative science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-based fields, and to inspire and celebrate women for their achievements. This program has allowed women students to feel empowered to achieve their goals academically, professionally, and in life. I also want to thank the donors and mentors for making this program possible. Your generous donations of money and time will give us all so many more opportunities to further our education and become confident women in the workplace. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks everyone. What a great day. What a wonderful way to end the day, looking at the students that we are impacting and specifically that Lisa, that your group is impacting. My hat is off to the hard work that you and your group do to pull today together, as well as on an ongoing basis in terms of the mentorship provided to students. The Women for STEM at Ontario Tech truly rocks, and I couldn't be more proud to be associated with it. I just want to quickly thank our speakers. Rhonda, that was fantastic. It's always great to hear from you. Such brilliant people. We had Rhonda, we had Kevin, we had a great panel. Thank you to my fellow panelists for that discussion. It's a bright future. What I'd like to do as well is sometimes, is touched on that to pull this off, it takes a lot of people behind the scenes. We've got an incredible team, part of Sue's team, that helps to pull these things off. It takes a lot of technological know-how to make everything work. And it's really important to say that the majority of people working behind the scenes in a tech capacity today are women, and they're doing a phenomenal job. So shout out to you folks. I know that they know they rock, but I need to tell them even more about that. Some comments from me, just to conclude, that I think that we all know, that wherever we are, and it was so great to hear Rhonda talking about, the various rungs and needing to knock out and re-achieve some of those rungs to move women up, because it's not just all about the top. But certainly if we think about change, for me, I'm a big believer in you do what gets measured, and what's measured gets done. And, I think there's a great moment in time here that, again, it's about the silver linings around COVID, that, one of the injustices that I think people are looking at when they look at the private sector and they look at things like CEO comp, is the disconnect in people's minds between what our primarily white male CEOs are making compared to the average worker. And, you know, if they're indeed worth that salary, then, you know, they should be working on how do we move women and other equity seeking groups up in organizations. And I can guarantee you, certainly in publicly traded companies, that if boards are holding CEOs to account, and if you really want to hold them to account, link the compensation package to those metrics, you'll see measurable change. And that has to happen at all levels in all of our organizations, that it's not one person's job. We can't go back and think that we ourselves as evangelists are the only ones who are going to do so. We need support at all levels of the organization, because things like implicit bias creep in at every level, whether it's on the hiring level, whether it's how we promote people. Rhonda talked about hiring in our own likeness. And so we can all play a role, and we all need to push our organization to do more simultaneously. So thank you for your contributions today. It's great to come together, but it's even more powerful to then break apart and think, how are we going to change the world? The Women for STEM program is having an unbelievable impact on students like Isabella and Notion that we heard from today. That makes my day to hear those kinds of stories. I'd like to thank Lisa again and the Council for helping Ontario Tech build this support network for our students, who are in turn helping each other, which is worth mentioning. That, you know, when you do feel as though you're mentored and you've got somebody to look up to, it's amazing how these young people can turn to one another and help them. And that also lifts my spirits. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our presenting sponsor, the Woodbridge Group, for all of your support in this summit, in the many ways that you have done so today, in terms of your participation today on the program, but also in sponsoring our summit today. It's truly appreciated substantively. Together, we're making a difference for women in STEM, and we all know that that job has really only just begun. If we want to differentiate Canada on this basis, by doing so, we'll differentiate our talent on the world stage, and there's no time that's going to be better than now. So let's please all stay energized into action. Thank you for joining us today. We've got a great set of friends who support our university and make us strong, and this is really evidenced by what we see today. Please go out into the world and make your changes in your local world and in the greater world beyond you. You never know when you're affecting a life, and part of the reason that the educational sector has been such a strong draw to me over my entire career. So thank you for your participation. We're right at 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna say to you, thank you. We know you're busy. We wanna value your time. Thanks for participating, and we'll see you all shortly. Take care. Be safe.